If you like money and fantasy football, you're going to love this free offer to make money with DraftStreet.com. In fact, you've got a chance to win my money because I'm running a $300 league today where the top 7 finish in the money. Hi guys, Al DeMarco here, and today you'll be competing against my team and amongst yourselves to win my money. Fantasy sports have changed over the years, making them more lucrative. No more waiting to get paid at the end of the season. With DraftStreet.com, you get instant gratification. Here's the deal. Go to DraftStreet.com right now. Enter this code, DeMarco, my last name. That's going to get you access to my league today. Entry costs absolutely nothing. It's free to play for a shot at winning my money. You have a $100,000 salary cap to draft your team. You've got until the 1 p.m. Eastern Time kickoffs to set your roster, and the winners will be determined when the Monday night game is over. Remember, the top 7 finish in the money with my $300 at stake. Go to DraftStreet.com, use the passcode DeMarco. Build your team now. Welcome back, everyone, to the Countdown to Kickoff show. Al DeMarco along with Steve Budin. You know, all season long we've been talking about fantasy football, and yes, we will get to that riveting game between Carolina and the Colts in just a moment. But first, let's talk about fantasy football because we had a hell of a contest last week that was a lot more exciting than anything the Colts and the Panthers will do today. We had a contest that was limited to 100 of you out there. The first 100 got in there, $1,000 in prize money. And I want to say congratulations to P. Peterson, that was the user's name. He won the contest, won the $300 first prize last week, and he won it by 8/100ths of a point over a guy whose username was Monitor10. This was the contest we ran in conjunction with DraftStreet.com. Third place was only a point and a half back, and I just want to say redemption was mine, guys, because 3 weeks ago I finished 239th.
And I didn't let you live it down.
No, and then 2 weeks ago I finished like 137th. Last week, baby, I was number 4 in the contest, which was significant because anybody who beat me got automatically $10. Their entry fee was $11. Got $10 back. Only 3 of you did, but it was a hell of a contest. This week we're going back to a free entry, guys, at DraftStreet.com. Fantasy football, $300 of my money on the table, up for grabs for you out there, and it's a free entry into the contest.
Yeah, and once again, whether you've been in the contest or not, you can play these contests every single week. Whether you won, whether you lost, it doesn't matter, and it's every single week. So the action is right there in front of you every week. You don't have to wait like you did in the olden days where you would, constantly redraft the entire season and so you could win at the end. This is each and every week. It's almost like gambling, and it's legal.
Absolutely, guys, because it is a game of skill, although there's a little luck involved. Let me tell you, for finishing 4th last week, I had my reputation to defend. But here's the deal. You go to DraftStreet.com, you enter my last name, guys, DeMarco. That will enter you into the contest. It is free. You've got until 1 o'clock Eastern Time, Sunday afternoon here today, to finalize your roster. You're going to have a $100,000 mythical bankroll, and as general manager, you've got to pick a couple of quarterbacks, a couple of running backs, a couple of wide receivers, a tight end, etc. You put the team together. It takes you less than 5 minutes to do it, maybe 10 if you're not really up on the NFL. It's that easy, and again, it's free, and $300 of my money on the line, top 7 finish in the money at DraftStreet.com.
And when you look at the results, I mean, the people are flat out loving it. So we're going to keep running it each week with DraftStreet.
Absolutely, and it's instant gratification, guys, too, because as Steve mentioned earlier, this is not a league that's determined when the season and the Super Bowl is played back in February. No, this is decided after the Monday night game between the Giants and the Saints. That's when the results are announced.
And you take 2 gamblers like us that traditionally have hated fantasy sports and thought it would never catch on. The reason why we thought it would never catch on is because it took all season. And real gamblers want real action, and real action is instant gratification. That's what you get at DraftStreet.
And remember, use my last name, DeMarco, to enter the free contest at DraftStreet.com. Okay, let's get to this Carolina-Indianapolis game. I find it amazing. Here are the Panthers. Suddenly a 3.5-point road favorite, and we understand why, because the Colts are winless on the season, and they failed to cover 6 in a row during the most recent 6 losses. But this is a Cam Newton-led squad that is young, that hasn't learned how to win. I told you guys this last week. I thought the line was a joke. There is Detroit, down 24-7 at home, and the Lions come roaring back to win that game 49-35. And yet you're asking Carolina again. Each of the last 2 times they have been favored. Only 3 times this season they lost outright at home, laying points. The late points here, even though they should win, I don't know how you play this game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, how much better has Carolina become that everyone in Carolina is complaining that they can't hold on to a lead in the fourth quarter anymore. But I don't think Indianapolis is good enough to get that lead, going into the fourth quarter. So I don't think the way that Carolina plays in the fourth quarter is really going to matter here. I'm with you. I don't think you bet this game if it was the last game on the board. But if you had to bet it, I don't know. I would lay the points with Carolina. I'm feeling Cam Newton comes in here, and I don't care if they bring in the painter, the plumber, the electrician. I don't think they can win a game this year.
Hey, listen, Carolina's defense has given up 28 or more points in 7 of 10 games. Of course, the bad side here is the Colts may come off a bye, but they've only scored 27 points in their last 4. But every week you have this shocking upset. Could be this week. Colts might win it. I wouldn't bet it.
Either way, Peyton Manning gets my vote for MVP.
Atlanta and Minnesota, the problem with the Vikings here, not only did they get hammered last week, and really they did get hammered by Oakland. It was just 2 late garbage scores that made that game look deceptively close for the Vikings faithful. But Adrian Peterson isn't healthy. And without a healthy Adrian Peterson, I don't see how the Vikings win. I do have my problems with Atlanta, though, because, again, last week they get up 23-3 on Tennessee, and suddenly they have to hold on for dear life against Jake Locker to win that game 23-17. Matt Ryan, 23-4 straight up at home during his career, 16-9-2 against the spread, 432 yards in total offense last week for the Falcons. They should win this one comfortably, but should and could and would have, that's the problem with the Falcons this year.
Yeah, believe it or not, I look at this 9.5-point line, and Al, I think it's cheap. I think if this were last year, with Atlanta being a dominating home team the way they used to be, this game is 13.5. So I like the 9.5 points here. I'm going to lay it with Atlanta. I think they return to glory, and I think they win this game.
The Vikings last week, 6 turnovers, 5 sacks, 2 fumbles lost. It was just a bad game, and they have only covered 4 of their last 14 games. Next game on the board we are going to keep motoring on here is going to be Chicago and Oakland. We know Jay Cutler's out. We know Oakland has won 2 straight games, both on the road, and Carson Palmer is really getting acclimated in this offense. But the key for the Bears isn't necessarily, although Cutler's had a very good season,
yes, he has.
It's whether Matt Forte, who has really had 2 straight off games since that Sunday nighter against Philadelphia, Matt Forte gets the ground game going, whether the Bears deliver defensively as they have all season. Can they stop Michael Bush, who has carried 30 times in each of the last 2 games and gained 266 yards for the Raiders?
Yeah, I think the Raiders are back. I mean, I think they're playing aggressive. They're playing physical ball on defense. Defense is picking up the offense. Offense is picking up the defense. Carson Palmer getting a little better each and every week. And you know what? It's like poetic justice, because they complain all year about Jay Cutler in Chicago. They question his toughness. I think he's the toughest player in the league. Now they lose him, and they're going to find out that they're not the same team without him. I like Oakland here. I'm going to lay the points with the Raiders.
Yeah, I agree with you here. I think this is a good place to lay it. I think it's an interesting teaser possibility as well, taking Oakland down to a 1-point dog or pick them at home in this contest. Seattle and Washington. I have been very impressed with how the Seahawks have played. They have made people a lot of money quietly here in Vegas, covering 7 of their last 8. They won 24-7 with a dominating defensive performance last week at St. Louis. And, of course, remember their last home game? Upset Baltimore. That 12th man, which is Quest Field, that noise, that's the key here. Washington, nothing. I've told you repeatedly week after week here, after they lost Moss and Hightower, that was 34% of their offense at that point, even with Rex Grossman back at quarterback. Big deal. I think Seattle's cheap here.
I agree. Washington, a complete piece of garbage, and I also give Seattle a little bit of advantage at home. If they can get up at home and that crowd gets into the game, their defense gets pumped up, and they can pull out a win, I think that's the way it goes. Seattle minus the points.
Guys, we've got a couple more good games here to take a look at. New England and Philadelphia, of course, well, it may not be a good game, but it's a Sunday night game.
Hey, you bet enough on it. It's a great game.
It's a great game if you win. Pittsburgh, Kansas City. We're going to be talking about those games. Our final segment is available online at the website. So those of you watching us on foxsports.com or DirecTV or the Dish Network, SportsTime Ohio, etc., remember, just head over to the website. You can catch any portion of the show here in its entirety, plus get the ever-important 4th and final segment as we break down your final couple of games on the board. This, of course, the Countdown to Kickoff show, the only nationally televised show that breaks down every single one of your games from a point spread perspective. Al DeMarco along with Steve Budin. And guys, again, we will catch you next week right here as we continue this NFL season winding down, guys. Just a few more weeks to go, and we'll see you all next Sunday.